Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about layoffs. So most people don't see a layoff coming. And even the ones who do, honestly, most of them aren't even ready for it. Not financially, not practically. They know it might happen. Everybody knows it might happen. They just figure they'll deal with it when it does. And then it does, and the clock starts immediately. Here's the thing, a layoff isn't just a job problem, it's a financial emergency that most people are completely unprepared for. And if you're hourly, it hits different than it does for someone on salary. There's no severance package, no soft landing. 1 week you're working, the next week you're not. So let's talk about what actually happens in the first 30 days when you lose your job and don't have a plan. And then what to do instead. So day one, you find out you're laid off. Maybe it's a surprise, maybe it's not. Either way, the first thing most people do is nothing. They take a few days to decompress, figure they'll start looking next week, and in the meantime, keep spending exactly like they were before. Groceries, subscriptions, going out, same as always, because it doesn't feel real yet. That's the first mistake. The day you find out is the day your financial situation changed. Not next week, that day. Every dollar you spend from that point forward needs to be a conscious decision, not a habit. Week one, reality starts setting in. You file for unemployment. Good, do that immediately, the same week, don't wait. A lot of people sit on it because it feels uncomfortable or they think they'll find something fast. File anyway. It takes time to process and you don't get back pay for the weeks you waited. Here's what unemployment actually looks like in real numbers. Most states replace somewhere between 40 and 50% of your previous wages, up to a certain cap. If you're making $1,200 a week, you might see $500 to $600 from unemployment. That's it. Half your income is gone. And it usually takes 1 to 3 weeks before the first payment even hits. Sometimes way longer. It depends on the state. So in week one, you've got no paycheck coming. Unemployment hasn't kicked in, and your bills are still due. Week two, the mortgage or rent is coming up. The truck payment is coming up. You're starting to do the math and it's not looking good. This is where people start making decisions they'll regret. Pulling from a 401k early, putting everything on a credit card, borrowing from family. Not because they're irresponsible, because they had no buffer and now they're out of options. Honestly, this is the part that gets me because none of this is inevitable. It's almost entirely preventable with one thing, a gap fund. 1 month of fixed expenses sitting in a separate account. That's the difference between week two being stressful and week two being a crisis. Let me walk through what this looks like with real numbers. Say somebody makes $68,000 a year. Take home is around $4,400 a month. Fixed expenses, mortgage is $1,500, truck $650, insurance $400, utilities $250, groceries $600. That's $3,400 a month in fixed costs. Now, that person gets laid off. Unemployment kicks in at $550 a week. We'll say $2,200 a month. So there you have a $1,200 a month gap between what's coming in and what has to go out. Every single month until you find work. If you had 1 month of fixed expenses saved, $3,400, you've got a little bit of a runway. You can cover the gap for almost 3 months before you're in real trouble. So you're stressed out, but you're not in crisis. You can be selective about the next job instead of taking the first thing that comes along. If you had nothing saved, you're in crisis by week 3. Credit card goes on, 401k gets raided, and now you've got a debt problem on top of a job problem. Keep records of every job application you submit because most states require proof of job searching to keep receiving benefits. And most of them let you do it online, so it makes it pretty simple. Second, do a triage on your expenses immediately, not tomorrow, that same day. Go through every recurring charge and categorize it. Different categories like has to stay or can pause or can cancel. Streaming services, gym memberships, subscriptions. Pause or cancel everything that isn't essential. You can turn them back on when you're working again. Right now, cash is the only thing that matters. Third, call your mortgage lender or landlord before you miss a payment, not after. Before. A lot of lenders have hardship programs that let you defer payment or due if you reach out proactively. The same with some utility companies. The worst they can say is no. But if you wait until you've already missed it, those options usually disappear. Fourth, be honest about your timeline. Most people assume they'll find something in a few weeks. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it takes 3 months. I'd argue you should plan for 3 months and be pleasantly surprised if it's faster. If you plan for 2 weeks and it takes 10, you're in a hole. Here's the thing about getting laid off that nobody really says out loud. It's not just a financial hit. It messes with your head. You start second guessing yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, feeling behind. And that mental state makes the financial decisions worse because you're not thinking clearly. The guys who come out of a layoff in decent shape are usually the ones who treated it like a project from day one. Not because they're tougher, because they had a plan. You can't always prevent a layoff, but you can control what happens in the 30 days after. That's the whole game. Subscribe if this is the kind of content you need. Real situations with real numbers, and I'll see you in the next video.